This video is brought to you by Dropsource.com. That's spelled drop-source.com. Our teams do the research to figure out what's going to sell if you list it on eBay. If you order from us and the items don't sell, we'll send you a full refund. All right, now let's get to the tutorial. This is going to be a quick tutorial on how to get your eBay account set up and ready for dropshipping. The first step is a little bit weird, but we just want to create a listing because we don't have access to all the features if we don't create a listing. So you can search for something here like a dog bed or just click one of the listings that are down here. Doesn't really matter, just pick one of them. And then we're just going to go ahead and click, have one to sell, sell now. We're going to go ahead and click sell now. You do have to be signed into your account to see the sell now button. So if you're not seeing it, you're probably not signed in. So just sign into your eBay account and then you should see it. And if you still don't see it for some reason, then you can just go through and manually create your own listing for whatever. It doesn't really matter. We just need to have one listing created so that we can get on to the settings and they don't show them all to you if you've never listed anything. So I'm going to go ahead and click sell now. If you have a brand new eBay account, they're going to probably show you the simple mode that doesn't show you, all the details like this. So it looks a little different for me here than it probably will for you. But we just want to create a listing here. And mine is insisting that I add a photo. So I've just done a Google search here for dog bed. And then I'm just going to copy the image address, come here and then import from web, paste that and hit import. Because I have to do that to be able to create this listing. So basically just scroll down, you get the dog bed seen in the pic, whatever, it doesn't matter. We're not going to sell this listing. We're going to end this listing just as soon as we create it. But I just need to have, one listing up to get access to all of the features. So buy now price, let's do, let's do $88 because it doesn't really matter. And we don't want to sell this, so I don't want to do like $3 and have somebody buy it and think it's, whatever. And then this policy stuff, you're probably not even going to be seeing right now. It's just mine because I've already got this all configured and all that good stuff. And then you're going to go ahead, come down to the bottom and click list item. Once you go to list the item, eBay is going to want you to link a payment method if you haven't already done that. So just go ahead and link your PayPal or your bank account or whatever. And you should see a success screen once that's been done successfully. So once you've done that, go back to eBay, hover over my eBay and click on selling. And it should take you to something that looks kind of like this. It might look ugly and not be as pretty as this. And if if it doesn't look like this for you, that probably just means you don't have Seller Hub enabled on your account. And you're just going to want to manually do that. So you just go to Google, you can type in eBay Seller Hub and top link right here, ebay.com/Seller Hub. And you should have a way, like a big button that just says enable Seller Hub or start using Seller Hub, something like that. So go ahead and click on that and then you'll get eBay in this view, which is much more usable if you don't have that. You also might get a bunch of prompts like, let's go, this is here, that's there, blah, 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 all that stuff. So you can just sort of skip through all that. Sometimes Seller Hub can be a little bit weird. And if for some reason it's not showing up like this for you, but you have opted in, you can just go to ebay.com/sh and go there and that'll just, take you right to this spot. Just in case you, for some reason, can't get back here, ebay.com/sh for Seller Hub, that'll take you right back. So now that we have everything set up correctly, we want to just go ahead and get into the settings and start configuring stuff for dropshipping. Now, like I said, I've already been doing dropshipping on this account, specifically a method of wholesale dropshipping, so all my settings are already correct, but I'm going to go over the things that you need to update and where they are so that you can find them. So first thing is just go to the top left, mouse over your name. I've got to censor out my info here, of course, because I don't need people stealing my items, and then go ahead and click on account settings. Once you've done that, you land on this page, and this confused people in my previous tutorial because this page didn't exist, and so it's, stuff has just kind of been rearranged. So basically, all we're going to do from here is just click on selling preferences, and rather than just clicking on it normally, I'm just going to do right click, open in new tab, just so that it's easy to get back here. And now that we're here on selling preferences, you will notice right here under multi-quantity listings, we have a little option that says listings stay active when you're out of stock. Yours is probably turned off, and you want to make sure you turn that on. And so what this really does is basically, with eBay, the way that the search works is every time you get a sale, your item starts showing up higher in eBay's search results. So getting a bunch of sales is good because it starts making you rank higher. So if, like, say somebody's looking for a dog bed, then if yours has gotten, 1 or 2 sales, then it's going to start creeping up in the search results, and that means more buyers are going to see it, and you're going to get more sales and all that good stuff. So generally, when we're drop shipping, we're going to list something and say we have a couple available, and when it sells, we'll put it back in stock. But if you don't have this option enabled, enabled, then what'll happen is you'll sell it and then the listing will be over and like ended from eBay. And, you'll get the sale, but, the listing is just completely stopped from eBay and you can't set it back in stock or anything like that. So what this multi-quantity listing little toggle switch does is basically just saying, let me update the quantity. If my item goes out of stock, like I sell the last one I have available, keep the listing up and just say I have none available and I'm out of stock. So you want to make sure that this is on, because otherwise if somebody buys your item, you go out of stock, then that just ends the listing. We don't want to end the listing every time somebody buys it. We just want to come back and update the listing, say now we have more available, stuff like that. So got to turn this out of stock option, toggle that so that listings can go to 0 quantity without ending the listing. Now, another thing, you don't actually have to do anything here, but I just want to mention that it exists. Right here, you've got block buyers list. If you have a buyer that buys from you and you're like, oh, they're annoying, I don't want to have them buy from me again because they returned it or opened a case or something like that, I don't want to deal with them, then you can go here and you can actually just manually add buyer names of people that you want to block. So that's kind of a useful thing to know that that exists. But then from here, let's just go ahead and click over to return preferences right there at the top. So we're going to scroll down to the bottom of the page here. I've already got it turned on, but you probably have it unchecked if it's a new account. So check on RMA number on, and this basically just means that if a buyer wants to return something, rather than eBay automatically approving it and giving them a label, this gives you the option to upload a label from your supplier. So say you're dropshipping from Amazon, and then you're selling the items on eBay. If a buyer buys from you, you ship the Amazon item, you buy the item on Amazon and have the item shipped to the buyer's house. Then the buyer has an issue and wants to return it. Then what this lets you do is lets you go to Amazon, get a return label, and then give it to the buyer here. If you don't have this button checked, then what's going to happen is eBay will say, oh, they need to return it. They'll automatically give them a return label to ship it to your house. And that's not what you want. You want to turn this on, because then on Amazon, you can just get the return label, upload the return label for the buyer, and then the buyer will be returning the item back to Amazon so that Amazon refunds you, rather than just mailing it directly to you and then having you have to return it, which is a pain. Now I'm going to go ahead and come back here and open shipping preferences, business policies. Let's see, what else do we need? Manage communications with buyers, just some of the other stuff, and see if there is anything that we need to update. So under the shipping preferences, notice we are not enrolled in the global shipping program. You can use the global shipping program, but I don't really suggest it for drop shipping. I'm sure there's a way to do it. It's just that I had some bad experiences with it. It's great most of the time, but basically the situation that I had is I sold an Instant Pot to somebody who was in France, and since it was a US Instant Pot and the electricity is different voltage over there, they got an adapter, plugged it in, it blew up, and then they wanted to return it, but my return label was assuming that it had not been shipped to France, and so I couldn't get a return label, and it just ended up being this huge headache, and I had to deal with eBay French, who didn't speak English, and it was just a massive pain. So I just suggest not using the global shipping program. The way it works is they have a warehouse in Kentucky. It's at Airport Exchange Boulevard, and basically you just ship your item to Kentucky and then it gets forwarded on to whatever other country in the world it is in. So I don't suggest using the global shipping program when you're drop shipping from Amazon. You could if you want to. It can cause some unnecessary problems. It's not hard to do. It's just that sort of returns can get really, really, really messy. So, I mean, you can experiment with if you want, but I would suggest not using the global shipping program if you're drop shipping. If you're not drop shipping, it's probably pretty good. It's a pretty useful thing, but just not for drop shipping. You'll also notice down here we have allow combined payments and shipping, and we don't want to allow combined payments. So I've got, we can go here and click edit and allow buttons to say combined payments. We want to just disable this. So I'm just, I don't have it checked right now. If you had checked, let them send combined payments, but just don't do that. You want this unchecked. You want it to say that it's not specified, because combined payments is like, oh, I'm buying 3 of your items. Can you just stick them all in the same box and then let me save on shipping? Normally, maybe yes, but not when we're drop shipping. When we're drop shipping, we aren't getting any kind of discount for ordering a bunch of different items from Amazon, so we don't want to have combined payment for them. So just make sure that that is turned off. Now that we've got that saved, I'm going to go ahead and close this tab. Under communications with buyers, there's nothing too complicated here. If your buyer hasn't paid in a couple of days, toggle switch to just send a payment reminder. Not a big deal. I believe that's on by default, but just in case it's not, I would turn that on, and then we can close this tab. One other thing that I forgot is we want to open selling preferences one more time, and I just forgot one of them. If you come back up right here under preferences for items awaiting payment, you can go ahead and click edit, and you'll notice automatically canceled unpaid items. We want to turn that on because, if the person has, bought it but then hasn't paid, then, we'll just automatically cancel them. How long do buyers have to pay for items after this time? Items still awaiting payment are automatically canceled. You can set this to pretty much the shortest period because, like, if they haven't paid for it after several days, they probably aren't going to. I have relist canceled items on. Not that they should end because we got the out of stock option on, but mine as well. And then here's also another spot that you can exclude buyers if you'd like. Once you've done that, we're going to go ahead and come on back here and personal information, open that in a new tab, and eBay makes you sign back in again. I'm not going to click over because I'll have to censor the information and stuff, but you sign back in and just confirm that all your personal information is accurate and up to date. Once you've gone ahead and signed in, you can see username right here, an account type, individual. And by the way, one little trick that I just want to mention here, if your selling limits are kind of tiny and you want to list 1,000 items, but they're not letting you list it for some reason because you've got, relatively small limits, you can just switch your account type from individual to a business, and that makes it really easy to get pretty big limits. They're going to ask you like, oh, how much do you expect to sell and things like that, and you just tell them pretty big numbers, and then they'll just give you pretty big limits right off the bat. Really, the ideal that you want to start with is like 1,000 items and $25,000 because that way you can list 1,000 items that are priced at $25 each without hitting your limits, which is really, really good. So just go ahead and shoot for that. I would do a bit, say that I want to switch it to a business account, and then when it asks how many products you're going to list, what's the dollar value of them, I'd say maybe like $50,000 or something like that. Just be on the high end because they're not going to give you the full limits that you want. So if you say you want like $50,000, then they'll probably give you like $25,000. If you're having any other issues with limits though, we have a great support article at DropSource. You can go to dropsource.com/limits. And this support article goes over the exact tricks to increasing your eBay limits very, very easily. So just go ahead and pop over here to dropsource.com/limits. And that's got some other tricks for increasing your limits right away. You should be very easily able to go from, brand new account to instantly having 1,000 items and $25,000. Some eBay reps will tell you, oh, we can't do that, it's not possible, but it's actually very, very easy. And eBay reps can be kind of deceptive and not really tell you the truth about when they can increase your limits. Some of them act like, oh, we can only do it once every 30 days, but it's not actually true. Any rep can increase your limits to pretty much whatever they want, and it's totally fine. They just are told to not increase people's limits without a good reason. So if you follow our support article here, that gives you all the tricks that you need to get your account limits increased right off the bat so you don't have to wait a whole bunch. And then the rest of the info on this page is just, all your personal information. So I've got it all censored out here, of course, but just make sure that that's all current and up to date. You hear right here where it says business policies, we're going to go ahead and right click that and open it in a new tab. There may be some sort of screen here that says like opt in, do you want to opt into business policies? And yes, of course, we want to opt into business policies. So go ahead and do that, and then you should end up here. Essentially what business policies is just instead of setting all the details manually on every listing, you can just sort of create like templates of policies that you want to use and then apply them to listings. So, it's just instead of editing every single listing, you can just apply one policy and just, edit the changes, and they, update across all of your listings. Rather than having to do it every single time. So here are the different payment methods. Once you've opted into business policies, you probably only have like 3 policy. You'll have one for shipping, one for return, and one for payment. I have a bunch here because I've done a bunch of different things on this account, but you really only need 3. So first, let's go ahead here. Before there was an option for like payment settings. I don't know if that's actually relevant on new accounts because now that eBay has managed payments and it's not all going through PayPal, there isn't really as much of a point as having like a payment policy because it just, eBay has managed payments now. So payments you can kind of leave alone. Previously, that was just selecting like what PayPal account to pay you on and that kind of stuff. But now with managed payments, yeah, you don't really need that. So we're going to go ahead and move on and go to return policy and click edit. Now right here, what you're going to name it is just whatever you want, but I do my return policy because it makes it easy. And the policy description is just 30 days, money back, free returns, basically just, 30 days, the buyer can return whatever it is for any reason. Since we're drop shipping, we can always get a free return label from Amazon if we just say that the product is broken or damaged in some way. Get a free return label, so it doesn't really hurt us if a buyer wants to return something. It just makes it like the sale never happened. So 30-day free returns for any reason. And because you ticked that RMA box, we'll have the chance to, get the return shipping label from Amazon and then give it to the buyer. Return policy, 30 days. Domestic returns accepted should be checked. 30 days. There's also a 14-day option, which I believe is going away, so you might not have the 14-day option, but regardless, you're going to want to do the 30-day option just because 14 days can actually cause problems and not work super well. So just do 30 days return shipping. Even though you'd think you want to do shorter, just don't, just go with 30 days because eBay can have problems if it's less than that. And then we've got here return shipping label will be paid by the seller or the buyer. Now we'd think, well, the buyer, they're returning it, so they might as well pay for it. But the thing is, since we're getting a free return label from Amazon, we want to have a chance to upload that. So we're going to go ahead and select seller free returns because we're not actually having to pay anything there. We're just getting the free return label from Amazon and then uploading it for the buyer to use. If we did buyer, then the buyer would buy their own shipping label and ship it to our house, which is not what we want. We want to be able to give them their return label. So that's why we're doing seller free returns. I do not like to do the replacement or exchange just because it gets weird. If the buyer, wants a replacement, then they can return the one they have and buy a new one. I don't like messing with the replacement stuff there. And I don't do international returns because I don't sell internationally. I only sell within the US. So you can go ahead and click save on this policy and confirm, and you're going to be good. And now we're going to go ahead and click here and go to the shipping policy. I have a whole lot here, but just click on the one that you have. If you've got a new account, you should only have one shipping policy. And I like to name it free fast shipping because all of our items get delivered really fast. At DropSource, we only do items from Amazon Prime. Well, I mean, there are a couple suppliers that we use, but what we suggest using are the items from Amazon Prime, and they all get delivered very, very, very quickly. So you're just going to go ahead and come here, free shipping. And I like to put here 3-day handling, 1-day shipping, just in the little description for us. And the reason that we want to do it this way is because with 3-day handling, eBay gives us 3 days before we have to upload a tracking number. We could do, it's really the total that matters. So we've got 4 days here, and we could do 1-day handling, 3-day shipping. It'd be the same, we have to get the item to the buyer within 4 days. But if we did 1-day handling, 3-day shipping, then that would just mean that we have 1 day to upload the tracking number and then 3 days of it actually being shipped. Versus if we do it this way, we've got 3 days to upload a tracking number, and then as long as it gets there within 4 days, we're good, because the total is really all that matters for this portion. And then the handling is just how long do we have before we need to upload a tracking number to keep our metrics looking good. On shipping, you've got some different options here, but just do flat, same cost to all buyers. And then for services, you got 1 billion here, but if you scroll down, you should find one that says like overnight shipping. Wherever that is, let's see, 1-day services, overnight shipping, 1 business day. We're going to check the little box to make it free, leave both of these blank, and then handling time, 3 business days. The other reason that you don't do like 4-day or 5-day handling time is because if we have the handling time that is less than 3 days and then a total time that's less than a certain amount, basically using these settings here, it's going to show up on eBay as fast and free. And that just is, it's a nice little green text that makes people sometimes want to buy from you over somebody else. So somebody could be doing a very similar thing, similar delivering time, all that stuff, but if they have their settings set differently, they won't get the little fast and free badge on eBay. Doing it this way, you do get the fast and free badge on all of your items, which can just be another little push to get people to buy from you. So very helpful. So just go ahead and click save on this, and we will move on to the next part. Now let's go over how to pay your eBay fees. So this is actually way easier than it was, and I kind of love it, but go ahead and click over here where we were before. I'm gonna close out of that stuff that we don't need, and click on seller account. Now this is where you can see your payouts and stuff like that. It used to be that eBay gave you your money through PayPal, and then you had to remember to pay your eBay bill, but now eBay just withholds their cut and then just pays you your amount, which sounds a little bit annoying, but actually in practice it is great, because before, something that was annoying that would sometimes happen to new dropshippers is they would forget that eBay was taking, roughly 13% of their sales. And so then they'd log in and they'd be like, oh no, I've got this big eBay bill that I totally forgot about. It's just because they were not accounting for the fees that eBay charges every time you get a sale, and it could sometimes mess people up. Now eBay's changed, and basically the way it is eBay just withholds the amount of money that they are owed for your selling fees, and then you get paid the remainder of that, and it just gets set straight to your bank account. So there's nothing unique here anymore. You don't have to make payments to eBay. They just take it out of your sales generally. I mean, I guess if you didn't get enough sales to pay for stuff, like you have an eBay store, then that could be a problem because you have to pay for your eBay store and they would bill you then. But generally, they just, as long as you are making money on eBay, they're just going to withhold their cut from every sale that you get, rather than you having to sign in and remember to pay them for each sale, which actually very nice because you don't end up forgetting that you owe eBay fees or something like that, which is what it used to happen a lot when you were selling a whole lot of items. Now we're going to go ahead and go back to Seller Hub, so just ebay.com/sh, and bam, we are here on Seller Hub. And if we scroll down here, you'll notice here under promotional offers, we'll see that we can list a bunch of items for free. This is one other great thing that I love about eBay now is it used to be they'd only give you like 10 listings for free. Now they're giving you 250 items a month for free without any insertion fees. And generally an insertion fee is like 30 cents just to put up a listing, whether or not it sells. But if you listed 1,000 items without a store, you're paying 30-cent insertion fees for every single item. So you're guaranteed to have to pay eBay $300 just to list the items, even if you don't get any sales, which is terrible and really stupid in my opinion. But that is their system and that's how it works. That's how it used to be if you did a bunch of listings. Now you can get discounts on that by setting up a store, which we're going to do in a second, but they've really increased the number of free listings that you can do. Like I said, now we're up to 250 items for free every month, and that's just great. That's awesome in my opinion, because you're just saving a whole lot of money right there. So 250, at least currently it's 250 items for free each month. It used to be only like 10, then they upped it to 50. So it's just nice. It just seems like they're going, up and up and up. They're giving people more and more free listings, which is really cool. But still not enough for us, because in this example, we're going to be listing 1,000 items from Amazon to try to start making some money here. So what we are going to want to do, because we don't want to pay 30 cents times 750 listings after our first 250 free ones here, is we are going to sign up for an eBay store. And what you can do to find that, you can find it just poking around in the settings. I think you go to, where is it? Scroll back up, you can mouse over, hit account settings, and then subscriptions. That's probably the easiest way to do it. But you can also just go to eBay and then search eBay, open eBay store, and you can probably find the same link. It looks like it's ebay.com/sub/manage. And right here you see we've got choose a store. Now, the only reason that I'm not subscribed to a store on this account currently is because I've been dealing with less than 250 listings because I'm doing a weird experiment. But the main thing that I normally do is I just have a bunch of eBay accounts with 1,000 listings per eBay account. And the reason that I do 1,000 listings per account is just because of Vero violations and things like that, items that violate eBay's policies. Each account has its own set of strikes. Whenever I list an item, there's a small chance of getting some sort of little violation. Usually when I list 1,000 items, I'll get maybe 1, maybe 2 violations, sometimes none. But you just don't want to get a bunch of violations in the same category or it can cause problems. So let's say I get 1 or 2 violations for each 1,000 items that I list. If I'm going to list 10,000 items, then that would end up being 10 to 20 violations, which is probably going to get an account suspended. Maybe not. I could have good luck, but it's just a lot safer to list, across multiple different stores. 1,000 items, totally safe. Honestly, you could probably do 3,500 items or something like that and not have any problems. I just prefer to split it across multiple different stores to, minimize my risks of getting suspended or anything like that. Now we're here for the eBay store. We're going to go ahead and click choose store. And we're going to look at the different plans here. So notice the premium plan, that's probably the one that you're going to want to get. We're really looking for 1,000 listings. So using this plan and our existing credit listings here, basically that's going to get us 1,250 insertion fees for free. And it's really cool to see here because it used to be $75 a month on the premium store to get 1,000. You can actually just go with the basic store, which is only, looks like $21.95 a month if you have the yearly plan, or $27.95 a month without the yearly plan. I like to go with the month-to-month plan, $27.95, because on the month-to-month plan, if anything happens with eBay, if they're dumb, if they suspend the account, if they have any sort of issues, if you need to shut it down and open a new account, whatever, you can just cancel at any time and not have any issues, and it's worth it because it's a couple bucks more. $27.95, really, really, really good deal here. And then you get the 1,000 fixed price insertions. You also get other bonuses here, and you can read all the other benefits. I don't really care about those other benefits so much. Your final value fee goes down a tiny little bit. Average is probably around 13%. But yes, with the 1,000 insertion fees, that's really all we need. So you're going to go ahead and select and review. And then notice they're pushing the yearly subscription. I say go with the monthly subscription, and you get to choose your store's name here. I'm not going to go ahead and submit this because I don't actually need to do this on my account just yet, but this is what you're going to want to do. Just type in your store name there and hit submit order. Once you've gone ahead and done that, you can come back over to Seller Hub here and refresh the page. page, and you will notice that if you scroll down to the promotional offers, you'll have another one here, and it's not showing up on mine because I haven't done it yet. You should have another thing here that shows 1,000 fixed price insertions, so that basically, you've got between this one with the 250 free and the one that you get because you subscribe to a store, you should be able to do another 1,000 plus that, so 1,250 insertion fees for free. You can also see your listing limits over here. Obviously, this is the credits to be like, what you pay for each listing. So, as long as you've got credits left over here, you're not gonna have to pay fees on eBay or anything like that, even when bulk listing 1,000 products using Yabali or something like that. Over here, you'll notice your monthly limits. And so these are sort of like your promotional offers, or like your credits for listings, and your limits are how many listings that you are allowed to put up. So it's basically this number of items or this amount of dollars, whichever you reach first. The ideal listings to start with are at least 1,000 items and $25,000, because if it's less than that, it's just kind of annoying. You can get much, much, much bigger limits, but it's really good to just start out with 1,000 items and $25,000. And you've got a little request to list more button. Usually it doesn't work, but like I said, tricks for increasing these limits. If you've got like stupidly small limits, which they give to new accounts sometimes you'll sign in and it'll be like, you can list 10 items or $1,000, and those are your limits or something like that. And if you have something like that, all you have to do is you can try the request to list more. You can try converting your account type from an individual to a business. And then if that doesn't work, you can just go to dropsource.com/limits and review all the tips there. And we've even got like a phone call example script of what you can do to get in on them, or you can try it over live chat. It's better to do it over phone call because it's easier to get to somebody and convince them to give you a limit increase. But yeah, a couple different methods there that you can use. Another angle that works really well is subscribing to the store and then saying, well, I'm paying for the store that lets me do this many listings, but my limits are keeping me from doing that. So that's kind of another angle that you can work. Even though reps will sometimes tell you they'll be difficult and they'll be like, oh, we can't increase your limits. That's actually not true at all. Anybody can increase your limits. Any of the reps can increase your limits pretty much at any time. It's very, very easy for them. It's just that they're sort of told to act like they can't do it, or tell you that they can only do it once a month, or they can only increase it X amount. It's not true. There are different reps will tell you different stories. And if you do it enough, like I have, you'll start finding that the stories all contradict each other and don't really make sense. So that's how I know that the reps aren't actually being honest and telling me the truth about eBay limits and stuff like that. But if you just follow some of these tips that are shown on dropsource.com/limits, again, spelled drop-source.com/limits, that'll give you a bunch of tips on how to increase your limits and sort of give you exact tips and tricks on how to get there very quickly, even with a brand new account with no sales. Ideal limits are at least 1,000 items and $25,000, because that lets you list 1,000 items that cost $25 each, but more is better. All right, so that is all of the setup for your eBay account. You're totally ready to start listing items through Yabali and dropshipping, but I guess I'm going to go over a couple things real quick just for new people who might not totally understand the layout and stuff. So right here where it says awaiting shipment 0, that's just because you don't have any sales yet, but once you get sales, they'll start showing up here. And so you can click here, you can even open a new tab and see all of your items that you need to ship, order to a buyer, etc., etc. Your sales right here, I've got $2,300 just because this is a little experiment account that I've been playing with. So haven't really done very much volume here, but normally this is going to be a much higher number when you're doing actual Amazon drop shipping, because you're getting a whole lot of sales, buying those products on Amazon, having them shipped to the buyer, and then making a little bit on every single sale there. Top rated seller right here. This you can for you it might say unknown, or it might say above standard. You don't want it to ever go below standard, but this is basically your metrics for eBay. This is the is your account good or bad thing. So you can right click here, whatever is under seller level forecast, and open it in a new tab, and you will see all of your settings here. So you want to trend on all of them for top rated if possible. Above standard is fine, but you do not want to be below standard. So we can see here the kinds of things that affect our account and will basically give us problems. So let's just go over this really quick. Past level was above standard, current level is above standard, and if they evaluated me today, I would be top rated. It can be kind of hard to get top rated as a drop shipper, and that's fine. You don't really need top rated when you're drop shipping from Amazon to eBay. Just being above standard is fine, but if you go below standard, your sales are going to just fall off a cliff and you're not going to get any, not any, but it's going to be very, very, very difficult to get sales because they are basically going to start suppressing your listings, burying you at the bottom of search results, and you're just not really going to get any views or have any luck with any of that kind of stuff. So if we look down here, you'll notice transaction defect rate is at 0%. You can click here and get a full report. Basically, we have to keep this number below 0.5% or a certain number. When you're a small account that hasn't gotten very many sales, sometimes this won't be a percent. They'll say less than 2 or whatever, but then it can change to a percent as you get bigger. Basically, there are different things that can affect your transaction defect rate, but it's pretty much just like when a buyer opens a case against you, if you then lose the case. So you don't want to let cases go to eBay, and I've done full videos on how to handle cases, all that good stuff on eBay. It's pretty easy, but pretty much if a buyer opens a case, like for example, let's say a buyer opens a case and says, I ordered this product and I never received it, but you have tracking number proving that they did receive it and it was delivered to their house, then that's a fine case to let go to eBay, because eBay will just look at the tracking and say, oh, well, the tracking shows that it was delivered, too bad. And that one you're going to win by default. But for most other cases, if the buyer says, oh, it's damaged, oh, it's this and that, usually you just want to let them return it for free. If there's some weird case where they open a case, maybe it gets lost in the mail, sometimes it's better to lose, whatever it is, $20, $30, something like that on one item and refund the buyer, even though the buyer's wrong, if you don't think you can win it, rather than risking it go to eBay. Because if you let the case go to eBay and then you get too many of those, it's going to push your account down out of above standard into below standard. Now notice here, it's actually below 2%. You just don't want to go below 2% and fall in the red. As long as you're in the gray, you're fine. If you're in the green, that's like ideal. It means that you're perfect. And notice, this is not hard to do. With this account, which is just a test account of mine, I've done 451 sales, and out of that, I've had 0 transaction defects because I just handle my cases. It's not very hard, and 1 or 2 times I've had a buyer who's had something stupid, and it's like, okay, maybe I lost $20 on an item or something like that, but it's not a big deal. It keeps my account looking perfect, and it doesn't really matter what I'm making on one sale. What matters is my average. So if I'm making, $5 a sale on 100 sales, and then one of those sales I lose $20, it doesn't really matter because I'm down $20 on one sale, but I'm up $5 on 100 sales, so that makes it worth it. Like, I'm making a lot more money than I'm losing, and so that's kind of how you have to look at it. Sometimes you'll have something weird, and like I said, if you can easily win the case, if you know you can win the case, I've got videos on cases, so just, if there should be something popping up on the screen right now, you can click that and watch my video that really explains eBay cases in depth. But as long as you don't let any cases go to eBay and get closed against you, they only count here against you once they get closed against you. So if you don't let it get closed against you, and you just, one way to make sure it doesn't get closed against you is just to never let it go to eBay, then you can just keep this looking perfect. So this is one of the hard ones. Late shipment rate, this one can be a little bit annoying and sometimes gets messed up with dropshipping. Now notice, there's no red here. Like, this one has the red to below standard. So even if you're like late on shipments, you can't actually get your account to below standard by just being late, really, but it is better if you can just keep 3% or less of your items being late will keep you in top rated, which is good. Notice I have a little bit of trouble with this one, but out of 450 sales, I kept myself at 2.8%, so I'm still in the top rated section, but I am getting close, and I need to tighten that up so that I don't accidentally fall into above average, above standard. Now notice cases here closed without seller resolution. This is basically the same thing as transaction defect rate here. Just, don't let cases go to eBay. Tracking uploaded and validated on time. You just need, 95% of your items to have tracking numbers on time. But if you aren't uploading tracking for some reason, it's not going to hurt you, because notice there's no red here. It's not going to hurt you to not upload tracking. It's just that you won't be top rated. You'll be stuck in above standard. You have to meet every single metric in the green to get top rated here. So now we've got transactions and sales. You also need over a certain volume. You need a certain number of sales, 100 or more sales to be in top rated, and $1,000 or more. And then if we come down here, you can also see your return rate and by category. Sometimes certain ones will be higher than others if you have items that are getting returned a lot. So that's kind of your metrics. As long as you're keeping all of these in check, you're not really going to have problems with your account. But a lot of people who are new to dropshipping don't know to keep their account account above. They don't really know about their account metrics, and they kind of let stuff fall apart before they learn how the metrics work. So it's important to know how the metrics work and have a plan going into it, so that you just understand the systems and can, keep everything working smoothly. One other thing that I want to mention, under your awaiting shipment, you can go ahead and click on that. And once you get a sale here, if for some reason you need to cancel an order or something like that, like say eBay is pretty lenient about canceling orders as long as you do it the right way. It can be a little bit confusing, but if you have an order that you need to cancel, or actually even if you just need to like ship your order, it'll pop up right here. You'll have a row, and then there'll be an option to print shipping label. You can right click that, open a new tab, and you'll just see the buyer's address. So you just use that information to ship the item from Amazon to the buyer. And then if you needed to cancel it, you can click the little drop down and hit cancel order, and there will be 3 different reasons. The top option, which you never want to click, is like, I'm out of stock, or don't have the item. If you select that option, you get a really bad mark on your account that's just as bad as if you, for example, sold an item but then never shipped it and refused to refund the buyer or something like that. You get the same mark on your account if you just say that, you don't have the item anymore and you cancel that way. That's really bad. Don't do it. It'll totally mess up your account if you do it more than twice. So just never click that. But the other 2 options are totally safe, and they're just the buyer asked to cancel, that's totally safe. You can always use that. Even if they didn't ask to cancel, you can click that and it'll cancel the order without hurting your account. And problem with the buyer's shipping address. You can also use that one to cancel an order without it hurting you at all. So always just use buyer asked to cancel or problem with the shipping address, and never use the there's a problem, with the item, I don't have the item, I'm out of stock, that sort of option. Just never select that one, and always choose either buyer asked to cancel or shipping address. Hopefully this video was helpful for you. You're totally all set up and ready for dropshipping now, and you should have a pretty good overview of how stuff works. Also, you've got returns on the side here, which you can click, and then if you have any returns, they'll show up there, and you can upload the shipping label that you get from Amazon. I've got a whole nother video on returns. So if you want to watch my full playlist, this is the first video in my playlist on eBay to Amazon dropshipping. So just go ahead and click the link in the description if you haven't already, and you can just watch the full playlist, because this is only the first one. Many different parts in it that go over first, setting up your eBay account for dropshipping. The next part is setting up your Yabuli account to bulk list 1,000 items with just a few clicks to your eBay store so that you can then start getting some sales. Setting up Ship, which is basically a program that automatically fills your orders for you so you don't have to do it manually. So whenever you get a sale on eBay, Ship will automatically go and grab the info from the buyer, buy the item on Amazon, have it shipped to the buyer, and then mark the item as shipped on eBay for you. So it's like a robot that's doing all the stuff that you would manually have to do. Makes it, it does it totally automatically, and it costs like 13 cents an order. So very cheap. And then also TrackerBot, which will automatically upload tracking for you and just totally automate your eBay dropshipping business for the most part, so that really all you're doing is fixing any problems that come up, dealing with returns, cases, and customer messages. And that's pretty much it. You can click messages up here to get to customer messages, of course. If it was helpful, go ahead and hit like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will be back here with another video in a couple days. But otherwise, keep enjoying the playlist and move on to part 2. This video is brought to you by Dropsource.com. That's spelled drop-source.com. Our teams do the research to figure out what's going to sell if you list it on eBay. If you order from us and the items don't sell, we'll send you a full refund.